we'll just kind of jump in. And a lot of these are really fun, and it's really diverse mailbag. So I appreciate folks for sending questions. So John L on Twitter, who does voiceovers like professionally. That's his job. Isn't that cool? Like he has like a like introducing like a movie preview type voice. We should absolutely ask him to do something for the show. That would be awesome. Yeah. He says which Twins prospect will, in quotes, save the season? Maybe we just talked about him. What do you think? So I guess my question for you is like, can he sustain this? Like, he's going to come back down to earth, right? Because the expected numbers are a little bit less rosy than what he's done so far.
Which is fine, right? But, some of the things that we talked about earlier this year was how the Twins were not only not good, but they weren't fun.
Yeah.
Right? And so now they're winning a couple of games. Obviously, they haven't played the greatest teams, but Luke Keechel's been fun.
He's so fun.
And is that going to put more people in the seats? Maybe not directly, but it's going to potentially have people talking, right? And then having people tune into the games just to see what's going on.
Yep.
And so does he have to do this for the rest of the season? No, and it would be silly to think that he will. But if he at least sustain this to the point where Royce Lewis comes back, and then or Carlos Correa starts to hit, or we see Byron Buxton, who just hit a home run after striking out 3 times. Like, if you can have 3 or 4 hitters doing a thing, like that might be enough right now to save Rocco's job, right?
Yep.
And if you can live to see another day, then heck yeah, Luke Keechel could certainly help elongate the season, whether he saves it or not. But over the last week, he's made Twins baseball at least interesting again.
Such a great first impression.
That's the most you can do, because we've seen prospects come up and not do great, or fizzle after a couple games. Right now, there's no reason to think, because Keechel takes great at bats.
He does.
So there's no reason to think that all of a sudden it's going to end. And even if he has a 3-game, slump or more, he's done enough where people are like, yeah, okay, let's watch this guy. And if the Twins can win some games, you never know what's going to happen next.
100%. And Keechel has such a well-rounded skill set, right? I know we've talked about this like ad nauseum at this point, but pulls the ball in the air a lot, takes a bunch of walks, is really patient, and has really good bat-to-ball skills. That's like a really potent trio of skills. And so I'm going to go on record and say my prediction for fully formed Keechel was like 270 hitter, 15 to 20 home runs, 20 to 25 stolen bases, and probably like a 330 to 350 on base percentage, 350 in his like best years. And so if you were the Twins, you would sign up for that 100 times out of 100.
Where are you placing him on the field? Because I think that still remains a mystery, right?
It still remains a mystery. It sounds like, and I haven't seen it yet, but it sounds like a pretty bad-looking error at second base, which resulted in a White Sox run today. I think they have no choice right now but to pretty much alternate him between second base and DH. And so it's going to be interesting when Royce Lewis comes back, right? Because it sounds like he's about to go out and rehab. Royce is also going to need some days at DH. And so they're going to keep Keechel up, and we'll dig into that more specifically in a bit. I think eventually they want to see him in the outfield because he's a really excellent athlete. We see that he has good speed. I think he's like 70th percentile on sprint speed, like small sample, but he's quick. And I think he covers some ground in the outfield. The throwing arm is going to be the question. And so I think medium to long term, you're going to give him a shot in left field, see how that goes. Because you want someone who's versatile. Maybe not as versatile as Willie Castro, but his less than versatility is offset by much better offensive skills than Willie Castro. So I think if you can get some time in left field and the majority of the time at second base and DH, you're probably pretty happy with that.